Hi guys, good morning, good morning. I think I'm organized, I'm thinking I'm ready. We're just getting ready here. Get myself done up if I can. Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to raise you up just a little bit, maybe. Good morning, Holly. Thanks for joining. I'm going to just raise this up just a little bit here now that I'm looking at myself. Hang on. Bear with me. That's better. Good morning, good morning. All right. Setting up on this side is a whole different ball game. So, good morning. So, my name is Angela. Thanks for joining me. You are live in the attic. I am the owner and artist with Angela's Attic right here in Prince George, British Columbia, Canada. And today I am representing Phenomena Paints, which is a paint company based out of beautiful Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Today we're going to learn, I want to show you how to paint a faux denim. So this is a bit of a fun project. So there really is, I've got an idea. So I'm working on a table here. I'm going to start at the beginning and then I will show you. So I've got this little table here, and underneath it's a table that stores 4 tables. So it's kind of a novelty item, very useful and functional, but for all intents and purposes, kind of boring. Same like those table trays, right? So same kind of idea. So it holds 4 folding additional small tables underneath. So I have an idea, and I'm going to be careful with the copyright infringements, so keep that all in mind as I speak of this. So each table, so we're going to make this a denim table, and then with each of these sweet little side tables, we are going to do like the rivet buttons that are on the front of the blue jeans, and we'll label each one with a certain kind. So I'm working on, like I said, trying not to infringe the copyright, but trying to keep it fairly close, if you catch my drift. So here is what I've done. So this was in preparation for this. Phenomena Paints is a clay-based, good morning, Connie, how are you? Phenomena Paints is a clay-based mineral paint with built-in top coat. It has phenomenal coverage, it's got very low VOCs, and it is 100% organic. I love working with it. Since I started it, the first time I used it, I fell in love with it. So easy peasy prep though with this. Because it's a clay base, it's got amazing adhesion to your surfaces. So any of your surfaces that are nice and clean, you're good to go. So it's never a no prep. Many claim, no prep, but you really do have to clean it. So there is some amount of prep. So I gave it a really good clean with a non-abrasive cleaner, and because this is a handmade item, looks like maybe a school project it was, had some rough spots on it, so I did give it a quick sand just to smooth it. Last night I gave it 2 coats of primer just because I don't want the wood grain to show through much. So although it's going to be a faux finish, which camouflages whatever is happening generally underneath anyways on your surface, it will it's going to have a bit of texture to it, and the paint will provide that. But I still wanted to get rid of a lot of the oak wood grain in here because oak is a fairly heavy one and has a tendency to bleed. So I used a bin shellac to seal up the top completely, and it's all ready to paint. Now I've tentatively drawn out kind of a pattern of my design. So if you catch my drift, if you can see that, we've got the back of a pocket with a patch there. So certain brands have this have this design, so we're going with it. Like I said, there'll be a patch the patch I will be making with a Cricut machine, designing my own stencil for it. And same with the stools. So the stools will be a match. We may get to this part depending on how we do here with timing on starting the rivets, but I want to show you how to paint denim. This is actually a really easy process, really easy. So I've talked about the prep, we've primed it. I made sure that I took like the sanding foam sponge thing, quick run over just to make sure I don't have any knobblies from the spatter of the roller. That's what it is. Okay, moving on. So, but I want to paint this denim to start with. So let me show you. I have to practice a bit because I've painted a lot of faux finishes, but never a denim. So good morning, Abigail. Good morning, Nancy. Hey, Nancy. So thank you. You're a little further away today. I'll pull you guys a little bit closer as we get going here. Maybe I'll do that right now because you don't necessarily need to see me. So let's bring you in a little tighter. And I'm going to knock you down a bit. Hang on. Whoop. Whoa. We always go for a ride one way, shape, or form, don't we, guys? And I need to pull the extension cord because I have a feeling I need my heat gun. All right. Now we're good. Okay, we're a little closer. That's better. So, and you can still see me. So, all right. So I practiced a little bit here. So all this is just a plain piece of plywood. I did a primer on it, exactly the same. And on one side I started because I wasn't sure. There's a couple of ways you can get the texture of the fabric weave. Good morning, Heather. Good morning, Karen. So I tried a couple of different ways. Plus, to get this effect, it's layers of color. So the white below is the primer. I didn't worry about doing a white paint. The next color I did is called Sterling Sea. Gorgeous, gorgeous color, and it's kind of a light bluey gray. And once I put that on, I took just a wallpaper paste brush and literally back and forth, crisscross pattern. That was it. So that kind of created that. But looking at that, it didn't give me enough of a texture that I wanted for denim. If this was a fine fabric that I was trying to mimic, it would probably be okay. I want more of this effect that is more of a dominant fabric weave in there showing the denim. So over top of this, I still did the same process over top of the light Sterling Sea that's already got a little bit of texture given. Then I put the color Pool, which is a nice deep kind of indigo blue. I love it. I put that on top. And then I took this fancy tool that some people may have seen and created that. And I think I really like that. So let's work. Are you ready to paint? Now there's different ways you can get texture. You don't have to go out and buy tools. You might have an old broom. That would probably work. Just make sure it's clean. What about dollar store combs? All kinds of ways you can make texture. So be creative. I'm gonna push that little stool off to the side. And so with this, because I haven't got the pattern straight, I'm also gonna look at the direction that I'm gonna go with my markings, with my scores that I am going to make for the fabric weave. So in this, I'm going to be going probably, because I want to keep the direction, so we're going at a slight angle. So if I went straight across, it would look kind of funny. underneath the stitching, and that'll get painted on over top after. So I'm gonna go probably with the pocket, and about like so. So after I paint, we'll be going in this direction, and then we'll be going in this direction. So there we go. So I'm gonna start with the sterling, and then we're gonna take a heat gun to it to dry it. All right, well, let me take a sip here. All right, I wanna move this table beside me. Now I'm still gonna paint this in the direction of the wood, because I did that same with the primer and going in the direction of the wood grain. You start mixing up your directions. I guess with this pattern it might not matter so much, but it could interfere if you're going for a really smooth finish. So your Phenomena paints, clay based, okay? The clay will settle. Give them a good shake. Sometimes they come in there a little thicker, the clay absorbs. I find some pigments, like the darker ones especially, maybe have a little bit more clay in them and tend to dry up, not dry up, but dry a little faster. And so with this, it's water-based, guys. Unlike so many other companies that say, oh, get this and add this and get this and add this, add water. It's water-based. It's clay-based. Add water if it's too thick. Leave it open a bit if it's too thin. So I love Phenomena paints for that. So I'm going to do the blue first. And now, like I said, other companies say to keep your paint, to be able to do this, you want to make sure that your paint stays fluid. So I gave it a quick spray of the surface with just misting water. Good morning, Lucy. Good morning, Anna. Well, I guess good afternoon for you guys, eh? And so we are using Sterling C, and you can see it is creamy, it is rich, it is full of pigment. Like, look at it, it is gorgeous. I love this color. Very soft. If you want a nice, soft, neutral blue, this is a great color. So now I've talked too much. I'm gonna give this a little spray here just to moisten it again, because I want to keep the paint wet until I am done with the scoring with the brush that I'm going to use. And I'm not worried. You can see I've added water to this. So if I was using this without water, the coverage would be amazing. But I'm not overly concerned with 100% coverage for this, because I want a mixture of colors. I don't want solid colors. Denim is not a solid color. But by spraying it first, I'm able to keep the surface wet as I keep working the paint. So if you're working a larger surface, you might want to then add, Phenomena Paints has a clear glaze. You could add clear glaze if you're working on a larger surface, or depending on the humidity levels and that. I've got higher humidity here, and we're kind of cooler right now, so my paint's not drying as fast. So I've got lots of time to work with it, as you can see. And I'm just making sure that I've got decent coverage, and I'm gonna give it one more mist. I don't use a spray bottle, I use a mister, just because it gives a nice mist over top, and you're not getting any drops. Now I'm gonna put the brush down. Now, to get the first layer of effect, I'm gonna take this brush, which is like a wallpaper paste brush, and I am not going that way. Keep in mind, I wanted to go at an angle. So we're gonna do the first ones at a slight angle, just to get some texture running through it. Okay? Same direction. Try and keep the lines fairly straight, but honestly, it's art. You want to give it the impression that we're not making denim, we're making a faux denim. Okay, now I'm going to come the other way to get that crisscross. And this gives me, it pulls enough off that a little bit of that white shows through to give the effect. And while it's still wet, you can still keep working it. And I'm happy with that. So it's a little hard for you to see that effect, but what I'm gonna do, hang on, I forgot my heat gun. We're gonna give this a little quick drying time. I'm not gonna worry about the edges right away. I'll work on them after. And anything that goes on the edges there, I will sand smooth, unless I want a rougher or more textured finish, which I might in the end here. So bear with me. I'm going to give this just a real quick shot of heat here so that I can speed up this drying, because I don't, if I put another layer of paint on now while it's wet, all it's going to do, you're going to do beautiful blending, but that's what you're going to do. It's not going to have any definition, and I want some of the definition coming through. So hang on. You're not going to hear anything. Talk amongst yourselves. It's almost there. Hang on. You want to keep your heat gun moving so you don't bubble your paint or your finish or burn anything. So as it dries, you can now start to see the pattern that is coming through. There we go. Okay. All right, I just wanted to make sure that was completely dry. Whoops, Jesus, don't fall. Okay, there we go. So now, I don't know if you can see some of the lighter now that has come through. So now we've got a different tones and texture going through that's going to create a nice base for the pool, the indigo blue that we're going to paint next. And we're going to do the same thing. So again, I want to keep it fluid. So reason being, again, I want this to be dry because I want to mist it so it gives me that slip underneath to start with, and then I can use the, use the brush, and I'm going to make sure my brush is wet too. So giving my brush a good spray to make sure the bristles are not dry also gives you fluid movement with your paint. Hey Carol, who else have we got in there? Hi Elmarie, nice to see you. Hi Darlene, how you doing? Glad to see everybody here. It's a Wednesday morning. This is all new to me, doing lives on a Wednesday. I'm usually a weekend girl, but I kind of like this. It's nice, it's quiet, nobody's around. So on Wednesdays, I do painting, and then on Saturdays, I do another one with another company on with transfers and that kind of stuff. So you can catch me if you really like watching me. You can watch me twice a week. So almost like a syndicate. Now, I want to show you this. So the pool, when I opened up the pool, it was really thick. But nothing wrong with it. It just means, like I said, sometimes I've found, and I don't know if that's the case, but I've found sometimes with the darker pigments, sometimes they are a little thicker to start with. Add water till you're happy with it. Add more, let it dry out, whatever you want. It's a water base, it's clay. Clay will absorb the water and the moisture in there. So yes, inevitably it does start to get thicker. You want to just make sure that you add. A thicker though gives you nice texture, so just depends what you want. So I think I've talked enough and we are good. And I'm just checking if I had anything that was those stubblies after painting. I would probably just take my little sander thing that I don't have here right now and give it a quick wipe, but we are good. I want that little bit of texture and I can feel it, just that little tiny bit with those bristles, just enough. And so that's going to create one layer of texture. Now I'm going to give this a quick spray and a little bit, not too much, because I don't want to reactivate the paint. I just want to give it a slick underneath. Plus I know my pool is a little thicker, but I have practiced with it and I love this because I want it a little thicker for this portion of it. So same thing, I am going to go over top. This is the pool. I'm not going to brush over and over, okay? Otherwise, I'm reactivating what is underneath. So I just want to get the color on. Remember, I'm putting texture into this, so it's not going to be, and we are getting a little dry. Now, because the pool was a little thicker, I could have added a little bit of the clear glaze to give it a little more fluidity, but I know I can work in a fast enough pace that I'm not too worried about it. So, but if you have questions about how fast you can work and you're worried about your paint drying before you're ready, then add a little bit of a medium in there, like a glaze, to give you. Okay, now there is my pool. Again, it is not perfectly laid down because I want different textures. Now I'm looking for there's my tool. So now what I'm going to do is I practice with this one. I'm going to use a little thicker one and same directions. So we're going to go from this corner to this corner. Now is where I really want to make sure that I'm trying to stay as straight as possible. You can overlap. It just gives you different, pulling off different amounts. So if you overlap a bit, it will give you different, different depths of the pool. So how easy is this? So this is just, I'm still working at a fast enough pace. I can see that I've got lots of moisture still in my paint, so I'm not stressing. I am going to wipe this off a bit though. If you find it's getting a little goopy and your lines are starting to blur, give it a little wipe, get rid of that excess. And I'm not overly concerned if I'm not 100% straight. You know why? Because denim is not straight. Nothing is straight with denim. Okay, so same thing. We're gonna go again the direction and this way. And go back over. I'm gonna go back over because I didn't like what I did there. So long as it is wet, you can still keep it moving, okay? And this way and this way. Go back one direction and then the other. Just gives you different directional of the way your denim is. This is a really easy effect, and I love Phenomena paints for doing this. It is so, so easy. Now, how are we looking? And you know what? Right in here is kind of the hip part of the denim, and it seems to be a little darker in there. I actually kind of like that. So I want to leave that. I don't even want to touch the sides. So I'm going to leave this whole thing now to dry, because after then I'm going to take probably my favorite color, if anybody hasn't figured this out yet, but you will see this more and more. Midnight Storm, a very deep dark navy, and this will add some shading. So we will come back to this. Let me give this a little shot of heat. I won't be able to do that today, but I'm going to finish off the sides. And what I'll do next week is we will continue with this one. And what I'll do is I'm going to start on the chair right now, and we'll start painting the top of one to make it look like steel. So I'm going to push this off to the side. So this is, if you can see that, this is the start, and over top then will be the denim pattern. I will use colors in there. Most likely Western Sunset will be the gold stitching. So, but we're going to work on that next week. I want to do that with you next week, and I can show you how we can paint some stitching and apply that stencil. So I'm going to push this off to the side and bring this little stool over, and we'll show you that one. And so this little set's going to be in 2 parts for you guys, because I can't do it all in one session. And then finally, like this, I need to put this one aside, close that up. I do try to keep my lids nice and snug on, and put them on right after. Like I said, the clay is a beautiful paint to work with, so rich and creamy, lots of texture. You can get smooth, but oops, I gotta put this somewhere. There we go. But it does dry out the longer it's exposed to the air. Okay, there we go. All right, so right now I've got all I've done here. So no primer, same prep. All I did was give it a really good scrub. Again, my hands are very sensitive to sharp edges. So when person's sanding and you get those nice sharp edges, I always take just a sandpaper and just go around. And what that does is it just takes off any burrs, gives you a nice smooth side, and it feels better. My colors are right here. So this one's going to be more blending. So, and I'm going to use round brushes for this, and it is not going to be perfection. I just want, when you're thinking of a rivet, I'm thinking the center is a little higher, and to try and get that rounded look, you want to look at what your shading and highlights and lowlights are with tones. So generally, anything that's raised usually has a bit more light to it, because that's the first thing that the light hits. Good morning. Hey, Valerie, how are you? So we're painting steel rivets here now, so, or trying to. So I'm going to use lighter colors to bring up the color to give it that rounded effect, and deeper colors for the shadows. So, but the first thing, so this is all I'm going to, the colors I'm using, so I have chosen, and I may introduce some of the blues into it as well. But to start, I'm going to start with the Noir and the Wet Graphite. To me, Wet Graphite, I don't know, sounds reasonable to me, right? For a color for metal or pewter or something like that. I think I'm going for pewter, I don't know why. so long as it looks aged, and then everything's gonna actually look aged. So with Phenomena paints, okay, I'm gonna make sure I shake my black there again. You paint right out of the jars, but clean up your jar lids, your mouths, jar mouths after, and that way you get good seals and good, it doesn't dry out. So, okay, and this one is Medieval Pearl, a nice bright light. So we are going to start with, actually, I'm going to start with the wet graphite for the base. And I can see that's going to be a problem. Just move it. I'll try not to dip all the colors together here. But I will end up mixing up colors, you watch. So I am just, keep in mind, this is going to be another full finish. And good coverage. Are you able to see that? You're looking okay. I didn't worry about the wood grain on these tables, and the sides fold down. I will worry about those inside that you'll be able to see after. I'm just going to get this, I want to do the painting. And so with this, we're going to go all the way around. This actually, if I do it like this, I will have more of a texture and you get amazing coverage. You get both coverage really good both ways. But I like doing this because it also gives me good control. If you struggle with blending, this is a beautiful way to do it. And then you do get some texture with it as well. So I'm gonna go all the way around and get this. Didn't know if I got paint on me or sprayed myself. Usually by the end of the day, you should have seen me yesterday, I was full of paint. I had paint everywhere because I had 3 different things on the go. All right, we're gonna give this texture because if you look at a lot of the metal and that, stainless steel, that kind of stuff, it's always got texture. There's some kind of texture. So we are going to go with texture on these because I'm doing stencils on these as well. If I was looking at doing a transfer, you can still do the texture, but be very cautious. Your transfers take a little bit more to stick. So we are doing stencils on this that I will make. All right. So we have got, there's our base color. So this color is the Sterling Sea. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous bluey green gray, which is perfect. Now what I want to do is I'm going to add some white. And this is going to give us our middle. That's going to give us some highlights. And the easiest, like this, I will be doing, so with a rivet, there's going to be a ring around, and then another ring, and then inside is generally the area of a rivet that's usually raised. So we are going to make this a little brighter, and honestly, like the little bit of paint I use is amazing. This paint goes so far, and I'm literally going to keep going in circles with the 2 brushes, doing this until I get the right blend. And then the outsides are going to be, these are usually raised around here, so a little bit more. I want more in the middle. And I'm just gently pouncing, dabbing. Like, these brushes are great, and I'm hard on my brushes. So, and these tend to last quite well, and they do amazing. And I am just going to keep blending until I feel I've got what I'm looking for. So, starting a little bit around here as well. And then I want a tiny bit of black, just enough, not much, just enough to kind of start bringing in a little bit of shadow. And this will give you an idea where that's going. So I'm going to work half at a time here so that I don't get too carried away. And I'm a person that I keep all 3 brushes in my hand because I go back and forth so much. And then I usually end up mixing them up, but it works. Now, could I have blended this a different way? Absolutely, but I want the texture on this. So, because I've got texture on the table, so I want this set to have the real texture and as close to authenticity as I can get without landing myself in jail. So for copyright infringement. So we're gonna work on that. Everybody knows probably by now what I'm trying to accomplish. So, and I'm just going back and forth. You see now as it works, you start getting that shadow effect, right? And I'm just that little tiny bit, like I could probably do 500 stools with an entire thing of paint. So I have totally lost my white. So now I'm gonna grab a different brush. Okay, so we are starting to get that effect now, right? As you see, and it's just working. Now I got 4 brushes. Can you see that? So I'm gonna mimic that all the way around. A little bit. I'm barely, it's almost a dry brush. The black is really, really heavily pigmented, and I don't want black, I just want a shadow. So, and then that one, and this way around. How are we doing for time? Does anybody have any questions? So, hi Tanya, hi Diane, thank you so much. Hey Gordon, how you doing, cuz? Okay. Almost done this. So same thing, back and forth. What do I want? I don't want that. I need to loosen my fingers here. This one. And a little tiny bit of white. Very, very little to go around this edge here. And if you find that your paint is drying and you're still working on the blending, just spray it again to reactivate. It's really easy. And I just want this to go around to kind of highlight and bring that bubble effect. And when your paint is still nice and fluid, it's way easier to blend. So this will be, I will continue to work on these, but I want to show you because we're going to do more blending in that next week with the same project. So and so you're just working with the same colors and dip right out. I always keep, so I've got just a paper here that I dab so that I don't have more color than what I want. It's easier to add color after than take it away. So if you're struggling with blending, this is a great way to do it, to get a nice blended effect. You can have a little bit more control because you're putting the brush exactly where you want that blending to happen, right? So this is just one way. There are many ways. The other way, of course, is the more traditional way of blending when you're with the brush. So, but because we're working on a round, I figured this would be way easier and then that way you don't get any brush strokes either. So I really like this way. Hi, how are you, Vonda from Cape Town? It's getting late there in the day for you, isn't it? All right, a little bit more blending here. Dark. And the more you blend, the more you move it, the more, that one, it's layers. So if you find though that your layering is not working, stop what you're doing, let everything dry, step back and go back at it. The more, if you find your blending is not working as you're working with it, adding more is not going to work because you end up pulling off what's underneath. So don't do that. I think I'm pretty happy with this. This is not looking too bad. I want a little bit more white on the edges, and I think I'm just going to take another brush and just go a little bit more around this way. And I'm just tapping in a little bit more of the medieval pearl to kind of brighten the rim, or kind of the where the router has. So I'm working with the design, not just what I want to accomplish, but the kind of the design of the piece as well. So that way you just make it to what you want. All right, I think we are doing pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how this is looking. I think I want a little bit around edges. And then I'll give you a quick show. It's white again. I could sit here and continue to play with this, so I'm gonna do this, but I will continue to, and just think of, if you're stuck on what to you know, how something might look, I Google pictures. I find my inspiration. I literally looked for a close-up of denim, and that's how I decided the colors and depth and pattern that I wanted. One more little round here. Soften that up. But then I want. Just a little bit of white right in the middle there. Okay, here, I will lift this up to give you a little bit better view. So hopefully, so it's subtle and it's still wet. As it dries, it does get darker, but you kind of get the idea of where we're gonna go. I might make them a little darker, but I think I'm happy with the lighter. The rivets for the stools are gonna go really pretty, I think. Very unique set with the denim. And this is still drying beautifully. Pull this over so you can see. And there we go. And so I hope this was helpful. So next week we're going to continue with this. We're going to do the pattern, painting the denim, painting the stitching and the pocket, and applying the transfers. So join me next Wednesday. We're going to do that and finish this up, and I'll tell you what we're doing, if we're doing anything down below for the legs and that. But thank you very much. I hope you guys got some inspiration from this, some different ideas. You know, you can take this, and now fabric, there's corduroy, there's silk, there's lace, like there's all kinds. Use, you know, find your inspiration right in front of your face with your closet, I guess. I don't know. But don't be afraid to play. Phenomena Paints is amazing. I am a content creator with Phenomena Paints as well as an affiliate. So please help me bring you some more wonderful projects and demonstrations, and we'll do more painting and learn more techniques as we go and introduce you to all the wonderful products Phenomena Paints has to offer. I always post the link, so if you're looking for a new paint to try or want to give it a try, shop Phenomena Paints through my affiliate link. I appreciate it. Thank you. Right now, Phenomena Paints has 20% off. So take advantage of that. I will post the link later today. Thank you so much. I know I will catch up. And Vande from South Africa as well. Merci, Michelle. Thank you very much for joining me, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the week. I'll be live Saturday with another company if you want to catch me on what I'm doing there. So thanks for watching. Check out Phenomena Paints. You'll be amazed. There's over 80 colors. You can't go wrong. So love them. Ciao. See you next week.